with Charlotte Flair hoping to mend fences with Becky Lynch and more. This is Wrestling Hub. My name is John and you're watching the Wrestling Report for April 2nd. Before we get into the rest of the video, make sure you subscribe to Wrestling Hub and turn on all notifications to stay up to date with everything in the world of pro wrestling. Also, don't forget to follow us on Instagram at Wrestling Hub Official and also follow us on Twitter at Wrestling_Hub. On SmackDown last month, Big E would be dropped on his head from a suplex, which led to him fracturing vertebrae in his neck. While he does not need surgery, he is expected to be out of action for at least 6 months. With Sports Illustrated, The Undertaker said that Big E should main event a future WrestleMania. It's really unfortunate what happened to Big E. You never want anyone to get injured. He built so much momentum. That isn't easy to do. I was so happy to see Big E as champion. He worked his way up. All his hard work paid off. When he's back, I would like to see him headline a WrestleMania. I don't think by any means we've seen his best yet. AEW President Tony Khan was previously criticized by former executive for WCW Eric Bischoff for constantly taking shots at WWE. Now, during the ad-free Super Show media scrum, Bischoff accused Khan of increasing tension between them. What changed the discourse between Tony Khan and I was that Tony felt whatever he felt was necessary to come out and say that Dynamite is where WCW was in 1996. Well, come on, is there anybody here that buys that? WCW was beating WWE at that time. WCW was an extremely profitable company at that time. WCW had a lot. WCW was promoting massive pay-per-views at the time. Many of them, not just 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 a year. You can't compare WCW to AEW, but he felt like he's got to try and get himself up to the outlet, which was fine. That part didn't really bother me. What really bothered me was when Tony Khan said, well, if Ted Turner knew as much about booking as I do, WCW would have never failed. That pissed me off. That was so disrespectful, and I gave an honest response to an honest question, and that honest response kind of, created an opportunity for Tony to feel his need to respond, which I understand. I don't hold it against him, but that's where it kind of escalated. For that same media scrum, Tony Khan would talk about Brian Cage having his AEW contract extended despite him not being used on programming recently. Khan revealed that he had to keep Cage in the dark on plans due to an NDA he signed when purchasing Ring of Honor. For Brian, I didn't think it made sense for him around Taz and those guys anymore. I also thought him and Tully here could be a good situation, especially when FTR and Tully were done. It's funny because with the situation of confidentiality and stuff, I couldn't tell Brian I wanted to buy ROH and debut you and repackage you here until about a month ago. It's funny because Brian, gotta love Brian. He told the media I picked up his contract. I was like, Jesus, Brian, why did you tell people that? I never told him not to, but I also couldn't tell him what I was doing with it, but I should have told him not to. That being said, I think it was good because people wanted to see him come back and it made it that much better. After making his debut for AEW during the ROH Supercard of Honor event, Samoa Joe would address rumors regarding his health during the post-show media scrum, saying he is ready to go. More than confident. You have to understand, coming into WWE, that is me coming off a 15-year plus career of probably the worst medical care a guy can get and going into a very arduous schedule. I did have a few injuries, one of them being the major concussion that took me out for a while. Honestly, I took extra time. When it comes to brain injuries and stuff like that, I wasn't willing to risk going back quickly and potentially harming myself permanently. It's just a dumb thing to do. We have too much science on our side and too much knowledge now that we can pull back and treat things properly and take time to heal. I took the time to do that, and that was really my major issue. I was taking the right amount of time to make sure I was ready to come back to the ring. As far as my last injury, obviously, it was more a circumstance of the world we all live in now, and it pops up here and there. I've been healthy. I'm more than ready to go, and I'm excited. Joe would also reveal how he knew he would be getting released by WWE. My going back to WWE was majorly because of the people I worked with and relationships I built in the company, mainly 2 people in Triple H and William Regal. As Triple H, dealing with his situation, which I obviously knew about, was very more concerned about than my employment, Regal and his departure, I knew the writing was on the wall for me, which is fine. We were a big collective team and a big collective think tank within the company, and we went a different way. As far as the release, it's an up and down process for a lot of people. For me, it's freed me up to pursue a lot of projects that I've wanted to work on. It freed me up to start talking with Tony in the future with what he wanted to do, and I was very surprised that it matched up. Talking with sports media, Paul Heyman said ahead of WrestleMania that he would like to work with Ronda Rousey and Charlotte Flair, who will be facing off over the SmackDown Women's title at the event. I also think that Charlotte Flair is a dramatically underutilized talent, both by WWE but also by Charlotte Flair. I don't think she understands just how great she is. I don't think that's a skill set that someone can be taught without hands-on experience. Together with synergy, professional intimacy, and trust, and again, it's about the method. But if I were to be able to perform with her, I think I could bring something out of Charlotte, a level of greatness that she can't achieve on her own, and nobody can achieve it. Roman Reigns can achieve the tribal chief on his own. The same goes for Ronda Rousey. There are things about Ronda Rousey that are so ahead of the curve, that are so beyond anybody's ability to even fathom how great she can be, and there's no way that she can reach that on her own. She needs someone to bounce off, she needs someone to perform with. An actor doing a monologue will never be as great. I don't care if it's Laurence Olivier doing Othello in the park. He's never going to be as great as if he's opposed against or doing a scene with another performer that can bring something out of Olivier that he can't bring out of himself. So with that in mind, a chance to work with Ronda Rousey, whose whole life has been predicated on breaking barriers and smashing through glass ceilings and reaching levels that no one else on the history of the face of the planet, male, female, or any other gender that we care to identify has ever reached in their entire life or will. Oh my god. Selfishly, I would love to see what she could bring out of my performance. So yes, I would love to work with Ronda Rousey. Working with her behind the scenes is just beyond inspirational, because there's a strive for greatness that lives within Ronda that you just have to acknowledge every time you're around her. During an interview with BT Sport, Charlotte Flair talked about her current reign as SmackDown Women's Champion, saying this championship run is not her favorite. I can't say that this title reign has been one of my favorites because I haven't had an opportunity, due to unfortunate events, to defend the title as many times as I would like, but in terms of when I came back after WrestleMania 37 that I missed, and came back as the opportunity, I feel it's been the most confident my character has been since before, a good 3.5 years. Toni Storm, in the middle of our storyline, she left. There hasn't really been anyone on SmackDown. I had the opportunity to face Naomi in a title match on SmackDown, and I had been waiting to wrestle her for 5 years. I would have liked to be more of a fighting champion. My goal is for all that to be erased once I face Ronda on Saturday. Previously, Becky Lynch took issue with Charlotte during a segment on SmackDown which went off script and led to a backstage confrontation. Flair would note that she wants to be friends with Becky again. I genuinely have nothing but respect for what Becky has accomplished. She really does make me better. The competitiveness is awesome. When I faced her at Survivor Series, I'm like, I'm the better woman. Doesn't matter that I lost. I still walk out as Charlotte Flair. Yeah, absolutely. Seeing her as a mother, I'm so happy. At Money in the Bank in July, Charlotte would face Rhea Ripley, and during that bout, fans were chanting for Becky Lynch. This caused Flair to flip off fans in attendance, as she noted that she got in trouble for this. With the crowd at Money in the Bank, I mean it when I say I believe that I am capable of eliciting that response from them to do that with Becky because of our history. I think the crowd was partially doing that because it was me, and also it didn't help that she'd been gone. How long? A year and a half, and she posted a picture outside the venue, so the fans wanted her. They hadn't seen her. And I was like, F you. You will have to respect Rhea. You will have to respect me, and you're going to watch this match. And it went from those chants to, this is awesome. In that moment when I heard that Becky Lynch chant from the fans, it was just, I didn't even like things. Am I going to get in trouble for this? Which I did. It was inappropriate. That was not the right way to handle things. On the Ring of Wrestling show, Kevin Owens, who is set to go face-to-face with Stone Cold Steve Austin at WrestleMania, claimed that no one has done more for his career than Triple H. Obviously, it sucks that he didn't get to retire in the ring the way he should have, but he's obviously making the best decision for himself and his family. He's done more for me than anyone's ever done in my career. I can say that safely. I always wanted to get in the ring with him. I always wanted to wrestle him. I got to team with him a few times, which was awesome. I never got to be on the opposite side of the ring. Triple H recently returned to WWE for a meeting with talent, as Owens told Metro what was talked about. Triple H, we hadn't seen him in so long. Yesterday we had a talent meeting. He came back after not seeing everybody for a long time, and he spoke about everything that he's been through. The message he had was, take the time to enjoy this. Man, that really resonated, but I'd already tried to frame myself that way for the last little while. It really changes everything once you change your perspective on things. On Believe in Pro Wrestling, Sami Zayn sat down to talk about his upcoming match against Johnny Knoxville when he was asked about mid-card titles not being defended at Mania, to which he responded, "They're titles. It's not about the respect the title gets, it's the performer that holds the title. For example, if Roman Reigns were the US champ, don't worry, that title is getting on the show. It has happened to where the title has ended up in the hands of a performer who, it's always been a breakout title, a performer who is on the verge of a breakout, and sometimes it goes one way and sometimes it goes the other. For example, Ricochet didn't have a ton of television time going into his title. It makes sense that he got the title, which is great for him, but it's a weird time where it's in the build to WrestleMania, so I don't think it's a disrespect to the title itself. It's just where the chips fall. That's one of the things people don't understand about being on the inside of WWE and how chaotic all of this is, and how sometimes it's not about the Intercontinental title is not important, let's dismiss it. Sometimes it's just dominoes fall and you're the odd man out. It happens to almost everybody. Look at Seth Rollins. It actually turned into a storyline, which I think has been great, but the storyline almost played on a real life thing where the match is lined up this way and it was, oh my god, how was Seth left out? I don't think it's a slight on the championship, it's just circumstances. Let's all just take a breath and calm down. Starting with WrestleMania 36, due to the pandemic, the event has been held over 2 nights. On Throwing Down, Renee Paquette would explain why she's not a fan of this format. I think it's too much. The idea, I would imagine, behind doing 2 days is to make it even bigger, and it's even better, and it's even more, where now I feel it makes it almost less important. I want to go in there, and I want it to be the regular WrestleMania week, with Monday Night Raw, the go-home show. Then there's going to be NXT doing their go-home show. I mean, they've got their Stand and Deliver show coming up. Then SmackDown will do their go-home show. Then we go into Saturday and Sunday shows. Actually, I don't know when they're doing the Hall of Fame. Then the big day also is the Monday after WrestleMania, which is when tons of people debut new storylines. It really just has this breath of fresh air. It's still the WrestleMania crew. The people that have flown in from all around the world to check out WrestleMania are still there. So it's a super rowdy crowd. But the Mania days are long. They are long shows, usually with a 2-hour kickoff show that's going to have other matches on it. Then you get into the actual card, which is going to run you about 4 hours a piece. It's like 6 hours a day. To me, it makes it feel a little bit less important and a little bit less exciting, but I feel like there should be one main event of WrestleMania. It's not like, oh, who's main eventing the first night? Who's main eventing this night? What matches are on each card? Which night is that all going to happen? That just makes it feel a little convoluted and messy to me. The Undertaker would become a Hall of Famer and even potentially teased a return by saying never say never in the end. During his induction speech, Taker made no mention of Mick Foley, with Mick's daughter Noelle sharing her thoughts about this, writing, "That was a great speech, but I'm very surprised there was not one single mention of my dad and their legendary matches together. Obviously, I understand it's difficult to fit everything into one speech, and remember every single person you want to mention, but it just would have been really nice to hear my dad's name mentioned." And this was your Pro Wrestling News Update. I hope you're all having a great day. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you later.